When was the last time something made you smile without any warning at all? Not a polite smile, not the kind you offer out of courtesy, but the real kind that arrives before you even have a chance to think about it. The kind that starts somewhere deep inside you and reaches your eyes before it reaches your lips. That kind of smile is not as ordinary as it sounds. At 70 and beyond, the things that still move you to genuine joy say something profound about the state of your inner life and the quiet health of a part of you that no doctor will ever measure on a chart. There is a kind of health that does not show up in test results or blood pressure readings. It lives deeper than that. It lives in the part of you that still responds to beauty, still reaches toward meaning, and still finds reasons to feel glad to be alive, even on the ordinary days. At 65 and beyond, many people begin to wonder whether that inner aliveness is fading, whether joy is something that belonged to an earlier season of life. This video was made to tell you something important. If certain things still make you smile from the inside out, your soul is not fading at all. It is quietly thriving. Point 1. The sound of a familiar voice still brings genuine warmth to your day. Think about the people whose voices you would recognize anywhere. A child's laugh drifting in from another room. The familiar greeting of an old friend calling on a Tuesday afternoon for no particular reason. A grandchild saying your name in the way only they say it. If hearing those voices still produces something warm and immediate inside you, something that rises without effort and settles like a gentle hand on your shoulder, that response is one of the most beautiful signs that your capacity for deep human connection is still fully and wonderfully alive. So many people assume that emotional responses naturally dull with age, that the feelings simply become quieter and less vivid as the years pass. But this is not what happens in people whose inner lives are truly healthy. The opposite tends to be true. People whose souls are well tend to become more sensitive to the voices and the presence of the people they love, not less, because they have lived long enough to understand how rare and how precious genuine connection truly is. If a familiar voice still has the power to shift the quality of your whole afternoon, that is not a small thing. That is a sign of a soul that is still wide open and still deeply connected to the people who matter most. Point 2. Something in nature still stops you in your tracks and fills you with quiet wonder. There is a particular kind of person who can be on their way somewhere and then stop completely, because the light is hitting the trees in a way that is simply too beautiful to walk past, who looks up at an evening sky and feels something shift inside them that is difficult to put into words, who notices the first flower pushing through the soil in early spring and feels genuinely moved by it, as though it were a small miracle happening just for them. If you are still that kind of person at 70, your soul is doing something remarkable. The ability to be moved by the natural world is one of the clearest signs that wonder is still alive inside you, and wonder is not a childish thing. It is one of the most protective and life-sustaining qualities a human being can carry into later life. It keeps the mind open, the heart soft, and the daily experience of being alive feeling like something worth savoring rather than simply enduring. If a sunset still makes you pause, if birdsong still catches your attention on a quiet morning, if a simple garden still gives you something that feels like gratitude without needing a reason, your inner life is in a state of health that is genuinely worth celebrating. Before we move on, I want to ask you a gentle question. What is one simple thing that still makes you smile without any warning? Something small and ordinary that fills you with unexpected warmth. Please share your thoughts in the comments below. And if this video is helping you, please like it, share it with someone you care about, and subscribe to the Wisdom Vault. Also, please watch until the very end, because the points ahead are just as important and may truly make a difference in your life. Point 3. A good meal shared with someone you love still feels like one of life's greatest pleasures. There is something that happens at a table where people are genuinely glad to be together. The food seems to taste better. The conversation flows without effort. Time moves differently, more slowly and more kindly, as though the world outside has agreed to wait. If sitting down to a meal with someone you love still produces that feeling in you, if the simple act of sharing food and conversation still ranks among the things you look forward to most, your soul has held on to something that many people quietly lose without ever realizing it is gone. Walter, A 72-year-old man from Ohio had a Sunday morning ritual that his whole family built their week around. Every Sunday, without exception, he made a large pot of his late mother's soup recipe and called whoever could come. It was never a formal occasion. Sometimes it was just his daughter and her husband. Sometimes the table was full. But Walter said the same thing every time without fail. He said that a good meal with good people was the closest thing to heaven he had ever found on this earth. And the smile that appeared on his face the moment he heard the first knock at the door every Sunday morning was, according to his daughter, the most beautiful thing she had ever seen in her life. Point 4. Music from a certain time in your life still moves something deep inside you. There are songs that do not simply play. They transport. They reach past the present moment and bring back a particular afternoon from 40 years ago with a clarity that photographs never quite capture. The smell of a certain season. The feeling of being young and full of possibility. The face of someone you loved deeply and still carry with you. If music still has that kind of power over you, if certain songs still produce something that is equal parts joy and tenderness and sweet aching memory, your emotional life is operating at a depth that speaks to genuine and lasting inner health. The ability to be moved by music is connected to a part of the brain and the heart that stays alive in people who have remained emotionally open throughout their lives. It means you have not built walls around the parts of yourself that feel things deeply. It means that beauty in sound still finds a way through to wherever you truly live inside yourself. And that openness, that willingness to still be touched by something as simple as a melody, is one of the quietest but most powerful signs that your soul has aged with grace rather than with armor. Point 5. Watching someone else succeed or find happiness still fills you with genuine joy. This final sign is perhaps the most quietly extraordinary of all. There is a particular kind of soul maturity that arrives when the happiness of other people becomes a source of real and uncomplicated joy for you. When a grandchild achieves something they have been working toward, and the pride you feel is so full, it almost hurts in the most beautiful way. When a friend shares good news, and your first response is a smile that has absolutely nothing behind it except warmth. When a stranger's laughter across a room lifts your own mood without any reason at all. This quality, the ability to feel genuine happiness at the happiness of others, is one of the rarest and most spiritually healthy things a human being can experience. It means that somewhere deep inside you, comparison and bitterness have lost their grip, and what remains is a soul that has grown generous enough to hold space for other people's joy without needing to measure it against your own. That kind of inner freedom does not arrive automatically with age. It is earned through a lifetime of choosing love over resentment and openness over self-protection. And if you recognize it in yourself today, please know that it is one of the most beautiful things a person can carry into the later chapters of life. If these 5 things still make you smile, please hear this with your whole heart. Your soul is not diminishing with age, it is deepening. The warmth you feel at a familiar voice, the wonder that still rises in you at something beautiful in nature, the joy of a shared meal, the way certain music still reaches all the way inside you, and the generous happiness you feel at the good fortune of others are not separate small pleasures. They are together the portrait of an inner life that is genuinely and quietly extraordinary. You have lived 70 years and kept your heart open through all of it. That is not ordinary. That is one of the most remarkable things a human being can do. If this video touched something in you today, please share it with someone you love, give it a like, and subscribe to the Wisdom Vault. We are always here, and we are always thinking of you.